At this point in my channel, I've had plenty of opportunity to talk about how modern day Disney and Pixar films are really good at teaching valuable life lessons. I think it's my turn though. I am an educator. Let's think like an educator. Okay, a theme that permeates modern Disney and Pixar movies. And it's got to be a moral for kids. So let's think about the kids in those movies. Well, you've got the kids from Wreck-It Ralph, the kids in the Toy Story franchise, even Darla from the original Finding Nemo. So, lesson number 1, children are little monsters. Actually, that does sound like an educator. You think I'm kidding, right? About the kids or about the educators? At the very least, I do believe that Disney is strongly suggesting that children are actually the most destructive force on Earth. Don't believe me? Meet my new favorite character, Hank, the septopus. And the reason he's a septopus and not an octopus is because one of his limbs was literally ripped off by a child in a petting pool. Don't get me wrong, they don't show it like an animated aquatic apocalypse now, but still. The reason Pixar wants to traumatize you with that bit of Hank's backstory is simply because you begin to understand his grizzled but camouflaged exterior. He may be a little mean, but the fact is those mean characters, much like Gil in the original Finding Nemo, are the most interesting characters. Sure, Hank's mean, but he still has a heart. 3 hearts, actually. Hank's voice is provided by none other than Ed O'Neill. That's right, Al Bundy is now playing a pivotal role in a children's movie. A man who's made a career out of creating dark, twisted, and sardonic patriarchs. A man you wouldn't really think would fit in a children's movie, and yet, after seeing Hank, I can't think of anybody better to play that role. These characters like Gil, like Hank, these dark patriarchs, or patriarchs, are actually always the most interesting characters I previously mentioned. And it's really because you learn what morality the story has to offer through them. You would think that they are an antagonistic character when really they're the most interesting and developed character. And I think that Hank is going to be the favorite of a lot of people who go to see Finding Dory. And he is my for the win. Coincidence that O'Neill is on Modern Family, an ABC show? Now, I won't say anything bad about ABC or their parent company, which is, of course, Disney. They own ABC, they own Pixar, they own my YouTube network, and giant mouse ears may be listening. But take a look at some of the new characters in Finding Dory. For instance, O'Neill's Modern Family co-star, Ty Burrell, who plays Bailey the Beluga. And you'll remember Burrell from the last Muppets movie. Idris Elba and Dominic West play Fluke and Rudder, a pair of English seals. You'll remember Idris, of course, from everything Disney's done, like Marvel's Thor movies, The Jungle Book, Zootopia. And you'll remember Dominic West from Disney's Nobody saw that one. But it all leads us to lesson number 2. Disney owns your soul. What is that? Oh God, it's my Disney implant. Get it out, get it out! My point is, I previously praised the talent pool that Disney had, their A-list of voice actors, including Idris Elba's Shere Khan in The Jungle Book. But in Finding Dory, aside from Hank, maybe Bailey, maybe Eugene Levy as Dory's father, there wasn't real star power in this film. And the kind of star power that they had was really just shoehorned into minor roles. However, I know that most people don't go to see these movies because of the voice actors, if they're A-listers or not. The fact is, they go to see Pixar movies because of the messages. And this segues nicely when it comes to Dory's parents. And that leads us to lesson number 3. Parents ultimately have to leave you. I'm not even kidding about that one. That one is actually a message in this film. Now, you can see this as a dark reminder of your own mortality or the mortality of your loved ones, as Up would tearfully remind us in the first 5 minutes of that film. Or you can see this as a message to parents. You love your kids, you prepare them the best you can, but ultimately at some point, you just have to let them go. I was so happy that I got to bring Baby Real School to see this movie with me. First time we got to see a movie together, and because of that, as a new parent, I actually picked up on this theme fairly quickly and thought about it. You see it in both Finding films. It's in the end of Finding Nemo, and it's in Finding Dory twice. Not only with her biological parents, but with her surrogate father as well, in the character of Hank. But there's more to the great Pixar formula than just tugging at your trio of heartstrings. And I have to say, that was really the biggest shortcoming of this film. I wasn't really invested in the quest this time. Perhaps it goes back to what I was saying earlier about not being invested in the new characters, but I didn't find myself as interested this time around. Granted, it was over a decade ago, the first time we lost a fish, but comparatively, Dory falls short of Nemo in a lot of ways, and I think one of the other biggest ways was its humor. Yeah, there are a lot of laugh-out-loud moments, but it just wasn't the same. And let's be honest, those of us old enough to remember the first one kinda went for the nostalgic factor. Sadly, it's just not there. What is there is a Pixar film that can stand on its own, sure, but when compared to Pixar predecessors, it lacks the same kind of charm and magic. It won't really go down as one of the Pixar classics, and let's be honest, this company just shells out classics at this point. It may not be the same, but it is still an earn it. Well, we're wrapping things up here. I think it's time to go over the lessons of the day. Lesson number 1, children are monsters. Lesson number 2, Disney owns your soul. And lesson number 3, parents ultimately have to leave you. We're kind of ending this episode on a dark note. Poll question, who is your favorite Pixar character? As always, leave your answer in the comments section below. Be sure to subscribe to Real School, follow me on Twitter, and of course, if you get anything out of Real School, you can always give a little back. Just click the link and you can become part of my Patreon team. But until next time, school's out.